Welcome back to the King Films College Football Playoff Predictions and New Year's Six Bowl predictions as well. And let's get right into it. But before we do, I want to emphasize to you guys to subscribe to the channel, as we will have the complete bowl predictions, all bowls, and we will have bowl betting locks coming out later this week. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So let's get right into it with the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl between number 10 Michigan State and number 12 Pitt. And I'm going to go with the bold prediction of hitting Pitt with the win for this one. I think that Pitt is just the better team here. Michigan State obviously has that win over Michigan, but as we've gone down the stretch here, that looks like more and more of a fluke. Obviously, they took care of business against the bad teams, but Pitt showed in that ACC championship that they are very much a talented squad. Obviously, they've got Pickett, a very talented quarterback. Michigan State has that nice run game, but I think that Pitt will win this game in what should be a great game here. I'm going to say 42-35, my final score prediction, Pitt by a score in the Peach Bowl. Next up, we've got the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, and this should be a great game as well. I'm very excited for it, but I'm going to go with another upset with number 9 Oklahoma State over number 5 Notre Dame here. We're not really sure if Notre Dame's safety will play, so I'm going to have to go with Oklahoma State. They were a couple inches from perhaps being in the college football playoff. In that Big 12 championship game, just came up just that short. They've been really battle tested in these past couple weeks with a win over Oklahoma, and then obviously they beat Baylor at home but couldn't get it done on the neutral site. But that was a great game, I think, for them to prepare for this game, and they're going to come out with a vengeance against the Notre Dame team that, they do have Freeman as their head coach, but I think that they're lacking direction. I think that they will be hungry, however, as they missed out on the playoff, probably because of that Alabama win, and they want to send a message to Kelly. But that being said, I think that Oklahoma State is the better team here. Notre Dame doesn't have a ranked win all year. The only ranked team they played was Cincinnati, and they pretty much got dominated at their home place. Yes, you could make the argument that they've played better down the stretch here, but I'm going to have to go with Oklahoma State in the Fiesta Bowl. Let's get right into the Rose Bowl game here, and this is a very intriguing matchup as well. Ohio State against the surging Utah, who has beat Oregon 2 times in the past 3 weeks, and then a Colorado team that has been down, but that was a rivalry game. Obviously, Ohio State had the gauntlet going down the stretch and only faltered against Michigan, where they really didn't put up that much of a fight down the stretch there, but that is one of the toughest environments in college football. It was a snowy day, and I still think that Ohio State is one of the best teams in the nation. I mean, the committee made a statement with that 6th ranking, not even having Baylor at number 6, because that shows that had a little more chaos happen, we could have seen an Ohio State, but probably a Michigan. The fact that an Ohio State would have made the playoff over Baylor is a little bit confusing to me. But that being said, I'm going to have to take Ohio State here. Utah has been a different team as of late, but I'd argue the same thing for Ohio State. Ever since that loss to Oregon, you could claim the transitive between these two teams, but I really don't think that you can. Obviously, Ohio State lost at home to Oregon, but they've been a different team. That standout win over Michigan State, almost 50-0 at halftime, is really what is going to make me hammer Ohio State in this Rose Bowl game, but I think it should be a great game. Finally, we've got the Sugar Bowl, and I'm going to take number 7 Baylor over Ole Miss here. Ole Miss does have Matt Corral, and he's been great, but I think Baylor's defensive scheme and offensive play calling should be able to get it done here. They played great in that Big 12 championship, really confusing Oklahoma State, forcing 4 interceptions, and their struggles on special teams. That game really could have gotten out of hand, but the 2 missed field goals and the muffed punt really made that game closer than it should have been. I think that they'll bring their best package in to this Sugar Bowl against Ole Miss. Should be a great game. Pretty much equidistant between the two schools there in New Orleans, and this should be a great game. Give me Baylor here, but narrowly, maybe by a field goal or a missed field goal at the end. And now the time that you've all been waiting for, the college football playoff predictions. Let's get right into it, and let's start with the 2-3 matchup. I'm going to have the shocker in Michigan over Georgia here. I think that Michigan has been the hottest team in the nation as of late. Of course, many might say Alabama, but they'd been up and down leading into that SEC championship, but you can't really take that win against previously undefeated Georgia away from them. I think that Michigan has it going on offense and defense. It took them a while to pull away from Iowa, but they ended up getting it done. That defense has been impenetrable in the past 2 weeks, and I feel like offense is where Georgia struggles. This could be a defensive battle, folks. I'm going to take Michigan, but only barely, and I could very much see a place where Georgia wins. I'd love to have an overtime game, and I think this is the candidate to do so. That being said, I am going to take Cincinnati over Alabama. People have said for years, oh, the Power 5 team playing against the Group of 5, they're always not excited to play them, whatever. We'll see for now. And I think that Cincinnati, you can't really take what they've done away from them. They did beat Notre Dame in pretty dominant fashion. Yes, you could argue that they haven't had the tests down the road. They just dominated that Houston squad, though. Took them a while to pull away, but still, they did. I think this should be a tight game. I think Cincinnati will definitely cover whether they win. I'm going to predict them just because I feel so strongly about them putting up a better performance that, if they do win, I don't want to be the one that took the chalk in Alabama. So I'm going to have Cincinnati, but I'll go through a couple scenarios in the championship. As for my championship that I have here, I'm going to have Michigan winning. I think it's just too unlikely that Cincinnati could get it done against two teams in a row. However, if Alabama does beat Cincinnati, I will say that I think Alabama will win the championship. I just don't think that either Cincinnati or Michigan can go through two SEC teams, much less one. And I think in an Alabama-Georgia rematch, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be having that. Those are the two heavy favorites in these two games. I think that Alabama will win a rematch in Indianapolis. Should be some great games here. I think if Cincinnati does get blown out, people will always be saying, oh, why did you put that Group of 5 team in? But, there really wasn't a great fifth option this year, seeing that it would have been Notre Dame, and we'll see how they fare against Michigan State. Please be sure to comment your predictions below and like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.